Coming up on today's program, BlackBerry struggles to sell its latest handsets.
Apple's hit by hackers infecting their Macs.
Sony unveils PlayStation console.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Insight, where we have the latest in technology and gadget news. We've had great feedback on our last show, which was in the Excel Center, where me and Kaleem went to catch up with the latest technologies in the field of learning. So Kaleem, what did you think about that show?
Yeah, people really enjoyed that show. We were out of the studio and people were enjoying the environment that we were in. And also they learned a lot, all these new technologies in terms of teaching, those new whiteboards, etc. We had some really good feedback.
There was a lot on display. So anyway, let's get cracking with today's program.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for another packed show. We've now got a fantastic new way to communicate through our brand new Twitter account at Insight MTA. Regular tweets about all the latest technology shows and conferences, etc. can all be found there. And you can carry on tweeting us at this address.
So we're going to start with the grim news facing BlackBerry as it ends its fiscal year on the 2nd of March. Analysts are saying that the rebranded company, formerly known as Research in Motion, will only have sold about 300,000 of its new Z10 smartphone.
I'm quite shocked at that, Ghaalib. When this came out, I thought it was going to be a revolution.
Well, potentially it could be. At the moment, it's only on sale in the UK and Canada. So we'll see what happens when the US market starts up.
Yeah, but that's a far cry from the estimate of around 1.75 million they were expecting, leaving the company at a risk of a fifth quarter loss in the row. These numbers mean BlackBerry's chances of emerging from its struggling and challenging Nokia and Microsoft look slim. The Z10 is also the first of two handsets to be launched this year, with a keyboard-equipped Q10 set for launch later in the year. BlackBerry will soon run into more challenges from Samsung, which is expected to launch a new version of its flagship Galaxy S smartphone, and maybe even from Apple, where speculation is mounting that a cheaper version of the iPhone is on the way. And that could be a big thing, because the iPhone is pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's right. They're touching new markets, but the thing is, there's worrying times for BlackBerry. Like we said, they've tried rebranding themselves, they've tried renaming themselves. This is a last-ditch effort by BlackBerry and Research in Motion to try and get their phones out there, make them popular. But a lot of people are saying that maybe they should remarket the phone as well, because it's sort of competing with the iPhones and the Samsung S3s. But maybe if they drop the price a bit and aimed it at slightly different markets, it might be more successful. And I was looking online, and actually they're trying to aim it more in emerging markets such as China and India, so hopefully that might be able to help them.
It's quite amazing because they were the pioneers of the smartphones.
That's right, and maybe that's what's holding people back, because they think of BlackBerry and they think of something that was around 10 years ago when smartphones really took off, and that might be the reason why they really need to sort of reinvent themselves. They're hoping the Z10 will do that. I mean, like I said, when it goes on sale in America later on in the year, the sales might pick up, so we'll have to wait and see.
So it's early days, the tables may turn in their favour.
That's right.
Let's have a see what happens.
Electronics giant Samsung is gearing up to release an upgrade of their flagship Galaxy S phone, with information about the successor of the S3 leaking onto the internet about a month before the actual launch.
The Samsung Galaxy S4 is rumoured to feature a 5-inch 1920 by 1080 display and run Android Jelly Bean, along with 2 GB of RAM, and it's expected to be released in New York in mid-March.
Apple Incorporated was recently attacked by hackers who infected the Macintosh computers of some employees in an unprecedented disclosure that described the widest known cyber attacks against Apple-made computers to date.
Now that's one computer that historically was difficult to invade or to actually get into.
That's right. I mean, Apple have always been proud of the fact that it's very difficult to hack into the Macs, and you don't see as many viruses on Macs as you do on PCs. But as we'll maybe discuss, this was because of the Java application running on Macs, and that was able to give these hackers a backdoor into the operating systems.
But the strange thing is that this wasn't the public, these were the actual employees that had their...
That's what makes it so deadly, and it wasn't just Apple either. There was hundreds of companies, including Facebook, that were attacked.
Wow. So unknown hackers infected the computers of some Apple workers in mid-February when they visited a website for software developers that had been infected with malicious software. Hundreds of companies, including defense contractors, had been infected with the same malicious software or malware.
The attacks mark the highest profile cyber attacks to date on businesses running Mac computers. Hackers have traditionally focused on attacking machines running Windows operating systems, though they've gradually turned their attention to Apple products over the past couple of years as the company gained market share over Microsoft. So one event that was happening in the Excel Centre in London was the annual BVE, and to find out more, I went down with the Insight team to speak to heads of different companies and find out the latest in broadcasting technology. Well, we've left the nice warm studio and come here on this cold spring morning in central London to visit the Broadcast and Video Expo 2013, which is being held here in central London at the Excel Centre. BVE is an annual event that basically provides a platform for the biggest names in the broadcast industry to come and showcase the latest technology that's going to be released over the next few months. Now, I've just gone through registration, I've got my badge, so I'm ready to go. So come and join me, we'll find out what the latest technology is going to be released for the broadcast industry. So with hundreds of stands over here, manufacturers are fighting with each other to try and get people to come and have a look at their products. And obviously, as you can see behind me, there's many different ways of gimmicks in here to try and get people's interest. But there is a practical reason for this as well. Not only is he creating a piece of art behind me, but it also gives an opportunity for people to test out the latest cameras, gives them something to film. And here at the CVP stand, we've got a whole range of cameras, including the latest in 4K technology. I'm going to go and try one of them out right now. Now, we've had a chance to come to the Sony stand here, obviously one of the largest manufacturers in terms of broadcasting equipment in the world, and I've had a chance to speak to Kevin. Welcome to the program. Thanks for spending a few moments with us. Could you just explain to us what bit of kit we've got over here? What are we looking at here?
Certainly, what we're showing here is one of our new vision mixers that we basically launched last September at IBC. Sony for a long time now has been synonymous with high-end, big vision mixers, OB trucks, large production studios. But an area we've sort of struggled in has been the smaller, more kind of compact studio, news production, corporate environments. So we've launched the new MVS 3000, said it launched in September, and basically it's been flying off the shelf since then. So it's its first UK show. It's a lot simpler and easier for a system integrator to configure. There's 4 parts to it. There's a panel, a processor crate, a touchscreen display, and the only option is whether you want format converters or not.
Let's talk about 4K, because it's something that everyone seems to be mentioning, particularly this year. I understand, Sony, you've got a new 4K monitor. Can we have a look at one of them?
We have. It's round on the other
Yep,
side
should
of
we
the
go and have
stands. One of Sony's big drivers now, basically for about the last 18 months, has been 4K. We've been using the term HD and beyond. We're now talking about 4K. And we're finally seeing 4K now become realistic in both digital cinema, and we're starting to see it, in the home now with products starting to appear. And what we need to accompany that is obviously content that's been created in 4K that can be viewed, post-produced, and then obviously delivered to the consumer at home.
So what have we got on display over here?
So this is the F65. This is the top of the range cinematographer camera. Basically, there are about 30 feature films that are now being released between now and the end of the summer that were shot using this camera. Here we have Sony's first 4K broadcast monitor. It's the PVM X300. It's an LCD technology, so it's not OLED like the ones you saw previously with the Vision Mixer. So obviously we've got 4K resolution on here, so we're looking 4096 by 2160 lines. The display also has an option to plug in the back so that the S/S cards that you record onto either the F5 or the F55 can be plugged directly into the back of the display and then previewed. Or as we're showing here, there's actually an HDMI output from that camera, a 4K output being displayed here in 4K 50p on this display.
All right, Kevin, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much for showing us around. As you mentioned, I mean, we talked about 8K. Maybe we're going to be discussing that later in the next year's BV.
I think we might have a couple of years to go on that one, but, you know, we're looking to future-proof our products to give people insurance that when you buy products, you've got a long life out of them with Sony. So thank you for coming around.
Now, many of you might be familiar with the set that I have behind me. It's a green screen set, and what it basically means is that it allows television producers to produce content which makes use of virtual sets for their TV programs. Now, the gentleman here at Super Techno has allowed us to use this set, so we thought we'd come and take full advantage of it. Not only do we have the green screen, but we also have these motorized jibs here, which can be used in television studios and have been used for TV programs for news and TV throughout Europe. So thank you for Super Techno for letting us use their set over here, and let's have a look at some of the technology that they've got on display here at this stand. So we've just been on the set here at the Techno Crane stand, and I'm joined by the founder Hurst. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a bit more about the technology that you have on display today?
We show a fully automated camera crane. Maybe you know, when you work with a camera crane, people are rehearsing, and then they're shooting 10 times until everything is ready. And so you can make one shot in the morning, one shot in the afternoon. That's the normal feature work. And what we said is it doesn't have to be that way. And we do a lot of special effects, yes, where you need precise movements, where you have CGI backgrounds, so artificial backgrounds, and you want to fit into this artificial backgrounds. Or you make passes if you want to shoot twins, yes. You need the actor to do twice the same thing, not the same thing, but behave. And normally it was not possible to have camera movements during this twins shootings, yes? And this all you can do with this machine.
And also we have a huge piece over here. Can you explain to us what this crane is and how this is being used?
Yeah, this is the biggest camera crane in the world, and it's basically that once you want to be over the roofs, yes. Once if you see Skyfall, that the takes on in Macau on the casino scenery with the water and all this. You want to see all this, yes? You want to cover this nicely. Normally you need the helicopter, but the helicopter makes a lot of wind, yes? And with this type of crane you can go up to 30 meters and you have a decent, perfect crane shot.
So this is the biggest crane in the world for television production?
That's correct, yes.
Now, when you watch TV programs at home, you don't always realize that there's a whole range of people that are involved in that. There's people who organize the studio, the lighting, the production, cameras, the editing. There's a whole range of things, and all the stands here are catering for all those different markets. Now, we've been speaking to people who are developing the latest in lens technology, other people who are developing lights, and all of the technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and making sure that it's easier for people to produce programs. Now, because of that, more and more people are producing programs, and it's easier for them to do that. So we're seeing a real saturation in the market, and because of that, it's harder for these companies to really stand out. So we're going to go and speak to them to find out what are the latest products that they're offering and how they make their products stand out in this new market. So one thing that's really revolutionized the whole broadcast industry over the last few years has been the introduction of DSLR cameras. And I'm at the Nikon stand where I've been joined by Julian. Hi, welcome to the program. Just talk us through some of the new products that Nikon are introducing.
Yeah, we've got various different products for the broadcast market at the moment. At the moment on the stand we have cameras such as D800, D4, D600.
Can you talk us through a few of those and what are the differences and what are the main features? So what's the model that you have in your hand at the moment?
Yeah, in my hand I have the D7100. So this is a new model. We introduced this about a week ago now. So this is what we call a DX size sensor, so slightly smaller than full frame. It's 24 million pixels. New stereo microphones on the top. Again, clean HDMI out, microphone sockets for the audio and headphone as well for monitoring the audio, and a newer high resolution monitor on the back of the screen as well. So yeah, so turn it around. But yeah, so that's our latest one, latest and greatest.
Where have you seen the biggest growth in terms of your market with people buying it? Is it within the home industry or the amateur users, or maybe at high-end broadcast level?
We're seeing a mixture. We're seeing an awful lot of people using it for the music videos type of things. In the student market, we're seeing an awful lot of people using it for the sort of wedding, sort of social market. So yeah, doing very well in that as well. Yeah.
And
As far as type of operation, these names can be changed really as well. Stay as long as they get something new, maybe.
So we've been having a look at many different cameras here at the exhibition, and with the advancements in technology cameras, we're getting more and more advanced shots as well from those cameras. Now I've come over to the DJI stand, and I'm joined by Dave. Hi, welcome to the show. Can you just tell us what products you've got on display here?
Okay, today we've got two main products. We've got this unit here, which is our S800. It's aimed more at the semi-professional and professional aerial photographer and filming guy. As I say, semi-professional, it's full GPS, so it's stabilised. Outside with a GPS signal, it will hold within a box of about 2 square meters, altitude and position. If you get a fail-safe condition, you lose the signal to the radio control, it will come back and land where it took off. Low battery condition, it will come back and land. So it's quite safe to use, it's quite easy to use because it's stabilised. We also have on this machine a fully stabilised camera gimbal. You can see here, this one is for the Sony NEX5.
And how does this stabilise the footage? Can you give us a quick demo of?
I'll give you a quick demo. In this particular setup, this particular setup, we have 2 controllers. One controller is used for flying the machine, and we have a second controller which you can use for controlling the camera. As you can see, you can have very fine control of the camera, or very fast control, 360-degree continuous rotation. What I've got in this particular machine is I have a video downlink module here connected to the camera, which gives me the feed from the camera on this monitor. For demonstration purposes, I've also got a camera mounted on the machine, which goes through another downlink to this monitor. So what you can demonstrate by the monitors is during flight, if you have any movement, the gimbal takes it straight out. The camera stays pointing where you put it. If the machine moves, the camera stays permanently fixed. To 99.9%, you don't need post-processing. It's fully stable. The machine in flight does not move like this. It's very small movements which it will take out.
You mentioned another product as well, which is aimed at a slightly lower market. Can we just cover that?
Yeah, certainly. I just have to go and get one.
Okay. So we're just going to get another product which is aimed at a slightly lower market at the amateur level, and the one we mentioned here is mainly for broadcast standards, but we have a smaller model here as well, which is Dave has just brought out to show us. So what's the name of this particular model?
Right, this unit is called the Phantom. We released it just after Christmas. It's our entry-level machine targeted at the leisure market and the consumer market. Basically, it comes ready to fly, so it comes with a controller. It comes with a mount to add a GoPro. Again, GPS. So if you lose the signal between this unit and the transmitter, it will come back and land where it took off. Fully stabilised, easy to fly, compact design. So the aim is that you can put it in your backpack if you go hiking, throw it in the trunk of the car, if you see a nice view. Just gives a whole new perspective to filming.
Well, we've come to the end of the day. You might be able to see behind me the crowds are still coming in thick and fast. We've covered a whole range of topics today, whether it's looking at cameras and the latest monitors. We've had a look at some of the editing software, lighting, you name it. There's a whole range of new technologies that's coming out and we've been able to cover. So I'm going to go back and see if I can speak to a few more people, but for now we'll hand back to the studio.
So very good news for you gamers out there. Sony Corporation has unveiled its first video game console in 7 years that will let users stream and play video games hosted on servers. Sony hopes the move will help stop the loss of users and preempt the next version of Microsoft's Xbox and propel it back into the top of the video game hardware industry.
Well, this is a story that's very close to my heart. I love using the PlayStation. Anyway, Sony said the consoles would be available for the holiday 2013 season. Now, it did not immediately disclose pricing, nor did it show the actual console itself. And this is something that the press picked up on. They had this big, fancy, unveiling of the PlayStation 4, but they didn't actually show it, which highlighted the content and social experience that the PlayStation 4 would provide the consumers.
The console will be up against the next version of the industry-led Xbox console, which is expected later this summer. Sony purchased US cloud-based gaming company Ghaalib for $380 million in July. Using that technology, the new console will offer a cloud gaming service.
So what does that really mean? The thing is, you can play your games without having to actually own a physical disc, which means you can go anywhere you want and purchase the games and be able to stream them. Not only that, but PlayStation 4 is really about using the social media experience, and we've seen the explosion of social media over the last few years. So they've got a share button, for example, on the PlayStation controller, which allows you to upload your images and videos directly online. Because we've seen, especially with Xbox, one thing that really worked in their favor was Xbox Live, which allowed people to come together and play games together. And that's something that Sony is trying to build on. So we'll see if these features will allow them to be able to do that. They've also have another system, which I think is quite good, called Ustream, which allows you to broadcast directly what you're playing, which means your friends will actually be able to join in the game that you're playing and help you out, or send you messages to maybe help explain and help you throughout the game if you find something.
And that's live while the whole game is taking place.
That's right. Not only that, obviously we know Sony develop not just games consoles, but telephones and tablets and things like that. You'll be able to download a PlayStation app onto your Android phone, which will then be able to give you live feeds onto your phone while you're playing the game. For example, if you're playing an adventure game, you can have the map for that level on your phone while you're playing. So there's all these different ways that they're trying to involve technology to make playing these games more for fun user experience.
And that's quite a big jump from the PlayStation 3, isn't it?
That's right, especially things like the Nintendo Wii really pushed a lot of this, because they found that people, they don't just want to sit down and play games like we used to before. Playing games has changed in the style of that. Xbox brought out the Kinect, and Sony are trying to use some of that motion technology in their controller as well, which was the one thing that they did show in the unveiling of the console. So then there's other features as well, obviously this whole online thing, but in terms of using the PlayStation Store, for example, someone like me who enjoys buying games, but I can't always test them out beforehand, the PlayStation Store allows you to actually stream parts of the game. So even when you go online to try out games, you can actually try them out inside the PlayStation Store. So we're expecting the console later in the year, and hopefully more details would come about, and we'll actually be able to see what the actual console looks like. There's been a lot of speculation online, but obviously it's just rumors at the moment. So let's see how these new features really change the future of gaming for us.
Yep.
Some of the most famous names in modern technology, including Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg and Google co-founder Sergey Brin, have launched science's equivalent to the Nobel Prize. Along with entrepreneur Yuri Milner, the three handed out $33 million to 11 winners of the Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences.
The winners include leaders in the fields of cancer, gene therapy and stem cell research. They have been recognized for their innovative work aimed at curing diseases and extending life.
Now, if you at home could name a moon, what would it be?
Well, you actually do have the opportunity to name a moon by voting for one of 21 names in the online poll organised by SETI Institute. Astronomers at the SETI Institute discovered 2 moons of the planet Pluto and put out an appeal for helping to choose names.
Now, out of 330,000 votes cast, more than 100,000 have been for the sci-fi name Vulcan. Some of you remember that that was the home of Spock from Star Trek. Until now, the 2 moons, each of which are about 15 miles to 20 miles wide, have been known as P4 and P5. The P4 moon was discovered in 2011 and P5 a year later.
So it's just definitely an improvement in the name, because that could be very confusing, P4 or P5. Before the discoveries, astronomers had identified and named 3 of Pluto's moons: Charon, Nix and Hydra.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time for today's show, but make sure you catch us again in a fortnight's time when we'll be back with a brand new episode of Insight.
Until then, you can catch up with previous episodes on YouTube or stay in contact with us by emailing insight@mta.tv, and we're also looking forward to your tweets at InsightMTA.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.